I'm going to show you how to do another type of texture. So I've got this bush here, and the bush is different than the fir. You know, it doesn't have tiny little lines. What it's got is little leaf shapes. Now, if I really look at that up close, look at some of the colors in there. I'm seeing like a pale whitish green. I'm seeing yellows. I'm seeing lime greens, and I'm seeing tiny little pockets of darkness in between those leaves where it goes down. Now here, it's really dominated by darks with lighter strokes over the top of that, okay? So this is how I would approach that. First, I'd get my greens. Now these are the colors I'm gonna do the bush in, and you can see I've got a white, I've got a yellow, I've got a mint green, I got a regular green, I got an army green, I've got a navy blue and a black. So these are gonna make these greens darker, the yellow lighter, and then the blue and the black are gonna make the greens darker. I might even put a dark brown in there as a color that I might mix in with some of the greens. When I apply this, I'm gonna apply it a little bit differently. So up here, I'm gonna sort of do it in sort of a scratchy manner to create a texture already. So I'm going to like here and creating this is the top edge of the bush, which was a little lighter. So I'm using a white base, and here I'm barely touching it, but I might have a few white spots down in here where leaves might pop out, okay? Now I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna have a lot of black down in here because that part of the bush was dominated with shadows, okay? Because those are all the gaps in between the leaves where it gets really, really dark. It's like looking into a forest. You know, if you look deep into a forest, it's gonna get pretty dark because all the trees are creating shadows everywhere. And then you're going to see the leaves in between these dark spots. So here is my base now, and I'm going to have a few dark spots up in here as little crevices and cracks in between the lighted areas of that bush. So I lay the texture down way different than I previously did on the other things that were more smooth. Now, up here, I'm going to start laying some strokes of yellow in here because I want that to mix with the green, and I'll get a lime green, and the yellow becomes brighter now where it's over the white, and it's not as bright where it's over just the gray paper. Okay, now I'm using these a little different. I'm not using the edge and little lines like this. I'm using more of the flat tip so I can create little strokes like this that are fatter, and if I take the tip and move it, I can kind of get strokes that maybe are a little leaf shaped. Okay, so I'm going to do that now with my lime green. I'm going to start adding some lime greens up in this area. In some areas I'll put it in real heavy. In some areas I'll barely touch it because I want it to blend with the white and the yellow. Okay, and then there's a few lime greens that are going to be down here in my blacker area. Okay, and I'm going to do that here. And now I'm going to go to my regular green, which is this one, and there's going to be some even darker areas here. Okay, here's my army green. I'll throw a little bit of that in there. So I want a variety of greens. I don't just want to use one green or my bush is going to look like a cartoon. Okay, so here's all my strokes in here. And now I'm going to start drawing in between some of these leaves. So I'm going to take my black, and in between these, I'm going to make little pockets around some of these leaves to create that pocket-like texture in between the leaves. And then down here, I might make a couple bright strokes down here so it looks like there's some leaves that are catching the light even in the dark part of the bushes. Not super concerned that they look like leaves. Now, if you're really concerned, you could draw a few leaf shapes in here. You know, you could take a light green or whatever, and I could actually draw a shape that looks like a little leaf in here. Here's a mint green one. I'm going to draw some leaf shapes. I'm going to let the texture of this bush kind of go out into my background a little bit. And that's kind of how you do the bush. Now, if I go back, you can kind of see what I have here. Now, this bush here, to me, looks a little greener. I got maybe a little too much black, so that's fine. I'm going to start adding some green to the black areas. They'll still be dark because of the black underpainting, but they're going to be a dark green now. And remember I had that blue? I'm going to let a little blue go in there. Add some colors and blue into that bush. Now, it's a subtle amount. It's not like you're going to look at the bush and say, hey, there's a blue bush. You're just going to look up close and, hey, there's some blue inside there, which is kind of the way life is. You know, you've got colors that mix. Like if you have someone with just a red shirt, there's not just going to be red in that shirt. There's going to be other colors in that shirt because where they're near. It could be yellows in that shirt or oranges or even blues in the shadows of a red shirt. You know, so don't limit yourself to color. That's probably the one thing that most kids make a mistake on when they start painting is they just kind of limit their colors and they stereotype everything. They say, oh, green bush, I'll use green. And they don't think of using any color other than green. So there's kind of my bush shape. Now next I'm going to show you how to do the edge around that bush, because right now I want my jagged sort of fuzzy edge, and I'll show you how to do that next. Go. So I've got a black charcoal pencil, and I'm going to, my pencil just broke. I'll have to fix that. All right, back with a sharp pencil. I'm going to just draw lines in between the leaves now around this outside. So I'm taking my pencil and I'm going in around those jagged little leaf shapes. And I can make up what I'm doing to it. I don't have to follow it exactly. But I'm going in around them, in between them, and making them dark. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to fade the black out a little bit. So just like if I'm using an ebony pencil, I'm going to fade that out. Okay, that way, I'm going to put another bush behind this. So just like this bush here, you can see that this there's a light bush, and behind there's another dark bush. So I'm going to take my green and overlap it into that black. So my underpainting creates a real dark green there, okay? And I could add more black if I wanted to. And I can take my fingers and kind of blend that in. But I risk the danger of blurring the edges of those leaves. But that is, I say danger, it's not really a danger. I can always come back here and with black and kind of highlight those a little bit more. And then the other thing I can do is I can take strokes of white and let those overlap into the other areas. So I'm gonna make a little leaf-like leaf points showing up like that. So that's how you might do the edge of something that is, it'll look like that. So that's how you create an edge that's, jagged or furry or leafy in this case.